Hey guys, Tim here. Today we're going to take a look at something I am geeking out over. I've been waiting a couple of days to do this review so that I had time to do it right, and I'll probably still screw it up. This is the Republic of Gamers Maximus 6 Formula motherboard. It is an 1150 Haswell motherboard from ASUS, or ASUS, or however you want to say it. Intel, and of course it has the z87 chipset, NVIDIA SLI and Crossfire. Now, one thing to note on the board, and I'll talk about this when I get it open, only two-way SLI or three-way Crossfire. Ultra HD 4K. See what it has to say about itself in the packaging. So, ROG armor. Another reason I'm geeking out over this thing. Cross chill. This is going in my water cooling build. Advanced Supreme FX. Because I'm doing a water cooling build and I'm probably going to use the slots on the board for other things, this audio solution is actually better than the add-in card I have. It also has the PCIe Combo 2, and we'll look at that when we get in there, but it does wireless and a hard drive. Okay guys, we'll take a quick look at the back of the box here. Same stuff as inside, so we have the Cross Chill, the Advanced Supreme FX, the Extreme Engine Digi Plus 3, which are the high capacity, I think there's 60 amp chokes. They'll be labeled when we get in there, I believe. And the PCIe combo. If you want to take a look at the specs on the back of the box, I'll hold here for a second. You can go ahead and pause the video and enlarge. And we'll move on to the unboxing. And let's go ahead and break into this very well boxed box. That is such a thing. So the first thing I will say, guys, when I got this out of the shipping box, is this motherboard weighs a ton. Not literally a ton, but you know what I mean. It weighs a lot. A lot of that's probably from the armor, but some of it's also from the cooling and the high quality components. So we have an awesome black back panel cover with padding. These are the nicest I/O covers, in my opinion, that are out there. We have a enter or do not disturb ROG. We have cable management labels, which I wouldn't use personally, but that's just me. Ruin the aesthetic. We have a user guide with a CD you can throw away. However, I might actually put that ROG logo on my computer because it is a really nice metal case badge. The Q connectors. A very nice SLI bridge with the ROG logo. This is the wireless antenna, which is AC. So it does have the two connectors. And the nice thing to see is that they are different connectors. My deluxe board, actually, one of the two connectors will not connect. So that's nice to see. You can see they're screw-in type connectors now instead, which makes me a lot happier because you can't accidentally unplug them, and well, they usually always work. The compression kind of connectors that they had before were not exactly my favorite. So here we have your PCIe combo card. You do need to remember to install this before you install the motherboard because you're going to have to, there's a screw that goes through the bottom. So this can take, it's pre-installed with your 802.11 AC. And it's got room for an PCIe SSD, which I don't know if I'll use or not. Guys, in the comments, let me know if you're using an PCIe for your OS. What do you think about it? Is it worth it? Is it worth saving the space? Is it worth the premium of the card? Let me know what you think. And then you get a whole bunch of cables. 8 SATA 3 cables. Half of them have 90-degree angles on them. So that's it for the extras box, which it's pretty extra-rific if you ask me. Lots of nice stuff with this board. Now, granted, it is a premium for this board, but I think, in my opinion, you really do get your money's worth with the ROG boards. So, nicely packaged, very securely in the boxing, and let's see if I can smart enough to figure out how to open it. Okay, and I'm going to be ridiculously careful with this board. So if I seem like I'm kind of being tepid with it, it's mostly because I don't want to do anything to it. This is going in my personal rig, so this is probably the most exciting, or most excited I've been about getting a motherboard since I bought my Z87 ASUS Deluxe board. So, zoom in a little here for you guys, and we'll talk about some of the features across the top, and then I'll... Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of the features across the top here, and I might have to tip up the board, I might not have to, so I'll try my best here, guys. So we have a 4-pin plus an 8-pin, which, 12-pin for supplemental CPU power. This board is obviously geared for overclocking. You also have a 4-pin fan header right here. And you guys probably can't see it, and I don't really want to tip up the board because you probably won't even be able to see it if I tip up the board. But right here is the MPCIe combo slot. Obviously, this is that cross chill they talk about. So it can take either barbs or compression fittings, which I really like the idea that they let you choose your adapter or connection rather than in previous models where it's just been the barb is already there, because I don't like barbs personally. This is going to be water cooled, so I will be putting compression fittings on these. Underneath here is obviously your power delivery and those Japanese, high quality Japanese black chokes. Up here we have your LED, an on-off button, a reset button, another 4-pin fan connector, your 24-pin power, 4 DDR3 DIMM slots. They go up to, I believe, 2800, but let me double check that for you real quick. Oh, up to 3000. Now, one thing to remember, guys, is if you overclock with Haswell, if you overclock the CPU, you're not really going to be able to overclock the RAM. If you overclock the RAM, you're not really going to be able to overclock the CPU. It's because of the chipset design. So you have to decide what you care more about. Personally, 1866 RAM is enough for me, and that's what we're going to be using. Okay guys, taking a look at the bottom of the board here. We have your USB 3.0. Would like to see that in a 90-degree position, but I understand why they didn't, because there's actually a motherboard screw that goes right there on this board. 10 SATA 3G, or 6G, excuse me, SATA 3. So these 6 are on the Intel chipset, and then you have 4 that are on an extra chipset. I think it's a Marvel, but I'll have to look that up. I'll put it in the comments if I remember. There's 4 here, and then your 2, your MPCIe combo, I believe is also on that chipset. Across the bottom, we have your slow boot if you're doing liquid nitrogen cooling, direct key onboard key, as well as the direct key header. And a good thing that, it was either Logan or Wendell said, was, how often do you use your reset switch anymore? Go ahead and wire that up to be your, have the direct key go to the reset switch. And I thought that was a pretty good idea because I can't tell you the last time I've used a reset switch. All your front panel minus your audio. Another fan header, and there's like 80 gajillion fan headers on this thing. This is a USB 2. The ROG extra. So USB and I have no idea. I'm guessing, I don't know. I'll have to look these up, guys. I'll put those in the comments as well. This is a USB. I don't know what this one is. Another fan. The Thunderbolt header. Your TPM header. And then auxiliary Molex power. So if you were going to populate all 3 lanes, or even 2 lanes, and you're going to overclock the cards, that's supplemental power to the PCIe lanes. SPDIF out, and AAFP, so front panel audio. Under here is your Supreme FX. We have 3 1X PCIe and 3 16, but it's 16.8.8. However, it'll run 8x8x in SLI, or it'll run 8x4x4x in Crossfire, 3-way Crossfire. I'm actually just planning to put 2 R9 290s in here, water cooled. The nice thing they did do was they left the backs of the 1X's open. So if you take off the armor, the plastic on the front, you'll be able to put in, a 4X card if you need to. Personally, I'm probably going to leave the armor on just because I think it looks cool. But really, that's up to you guys. Because part of the armor, part of the heat core here is this armor. So you can take the armor off, I believe, and still, well, I'll have to look that up. But it looks like if you remove the armor, that this piece is separate. So the armor just sits on top of the VRM cooling. You have 2 more fan headers right here. And then what I forgot to point out earlier is there are 2-pin temperature sensors everywhere. There's one here, there's 2 on the top of the board, there's one by the CPU, there's one down here somewhere I saw earlier. Well, there's one down here somewhere. So, if you guys are going to overclock a board, you want to make it the easiest on yourself you can, spend a little bit extra money and step up to ROG. The one sad thing that I will say, and I didn't notice this until Bill Owens actually said something on Twitter, is that this board, unfortunately or fortunately, or you can make up your own mind, is now produced by Foxconn and not by ASUS themselves. So ASUS was one of the remaining fab companies that actually fab their own boards, but with the Z87 line and forward, it looks like they've gone Foxconn. We'll have to see what that does, long term with reliability. It's going to take a few years to see how that transition works. Foxconn makes a ton of stuff. I wouldn't necessarily equate them with the highest quality stuff, however. So I've actually dealt with Foxconn on a business level with a company I used to work for, and was never really impressed with their fabrication. That was more than 10 years ago though, so hopefully they've stepped it up. This board does carry, I think it's a 5-year warranty, but it's at least a 3-year warranty. Does it say on the box? Does it say on the box? Does it say on the box? No, it doesn't. So if I'm horribly, horribly wrong, somebody correct me in the comments. But I'd have to imagine that it's a 5-year warranty like the Sabertooth. because it has pretty much the same parts as the Sabertooth. It's not military grade, but it's pretty damn close. It's really funny. They do not have it on the back of the box. Well, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'd have to assume it's at least a 3-year though. So guys, you'll see this in my water cooling build. Oh, almost forgot what makes the board so heavy. As I ramble on about warranties and such. The thermal armor. That is some thick metal on the back of this board, and it really makes the board heavy. The nice thing is that the VRM does take direct contact on the back, so it will work as a little bit of a heat sink as well as protecting the back of the board. So I don't really need protection on the back of my motherboards. I can not screw them up by myself, but the fact that it's going to give the board a little bit of an extra standoff, it's going to help thermal dissipation. It's just going to help you overclock. Along with the plastic armor on the front, really not going to do a lot other than aesthetics. However, if you have open, like non-venting or cards, then it will protect heat going up against the board itself. So obviously I've rambled on for a really long time in this video, guys. This is Tim for Timmy Tech TV. Buy this board. I will give you guys a further review once I get it hooked up to water cooling and see what kind of overclocks I can get with my Haswell chip. But this is Tim. We'll see you guys next time.